Charleston is long overdue for a massive hurricane, and we're not ready for it. The last giant hurricane in Charleston was in 1989, Hurricane Hugo. That was only a Category 4. Charleston's never been hit direct with a Category 5 hurricane in the history of recorded hurricane history in Charleston, but we're due. We could be the next Miami, we could be the next Houston, we could be the next New Orleans. And today we're going to talk about the 7 deadliest things that hurricanes cause in Charleston, South Carolina, so you can decide if this is even a place that you would want to live. If you love learning about Charleston and you've been curious about moving here, make sure you hit that subscribe because I post new videos every single week. Hey, I'm Matt O'Neill, CEO of Matt O'Neill Real Estate, Charleston's highest rated brokerage with over 1,100 5-star reviews on Google. I've helped thousands of families relocate here to Charleston, South Carolina. Been in real estate 20 years. If you want to stay up to date on Charleston real estate and really how hurricanes can affect you, which is what we're going to talk about today, this is the channel for you. All right, let's get into the 7 deadliest things about hurricanes when it comes to Charleston, South Carolina. The first, Charleston homes cannot withstand the force of a Category 5 hurricane. Sure, building codes today are up to that standard, but many of the houses, especially downtown and in historic districts in Charleston, they were not built with the ability to withstand that type of wind. And many of the houses that we have here are going to see serious damage if we get hit with that Category 5. The second most deadly thing about Charleston hurricanes, it's not actually the wind that is the real danger, it's the storm surge. I live in the historic district of Old Mount Pleasant. This is the Lowcountry. The last time Hugo came through here, there was a mark on the house I bought up to the roof line of how high that water came. When the storm surge comes through after the big winds, the entire neighborhood can turn into a lake. I remember seeing pictures of Isle of Palms where entire houses had been picked up by that storm surge and moved blocks away like floating houses down the line. So the second thing you really need to worry about when it comes to hurricanes is the storm surge. The third deadliest thing is that traffic and evacuation can be a total nightmare. Look, Charleston's really just got one major artery out. That's I-26. And they do turn both lanes of I-26 as to evacuation when they ask us to evacuate, but it can be just stopped traffic. So when they say evacuate, I highly recommend evacuate. You do not want to stay through a big giant storm. If it's coming, just get your family safe. All business will be shut down. They'll shut down all the schools. I've been through, I think, 5 evacuations in Charleston since I've been here. Thankfully, I haven't been through a major storm, but again, it's coming. That brings me to number 4. Charleston is overdue for a major hurricane. We expect a 100-year storm, right? Well, Charleston hasn't had a giant storm in years, and it could be coming. So if you're thinking of moving to Charleston and you're really, really afraid of hurricanes, it might not be the place for you. So we'll talk about the good and the bad. We're going to talk about the good after we go through these 7 deadliest things, but hurricanes are a real threat. And if you're thinking of moving here, just know that there will be times they're going to evacuate the city and you're going to need to go stay in the mountains or take an impromptu vacation. The 5th thing about hurricanes you need to know is that insurance companies are being harder on insurance than ever. We've seen multiple insurance companies pull out of Charleston, South Carolina. We've seen insurance rates rise quite a bit because of the threat of these hurricanes. Global warming is a thing. Weather patterns have intensified on the East Coast. And so just know insurance is going to be a pretty hefty cost. All right, the 6th thing you need to know about hurricanes is that if we do get hit by a hurricane, a lot of times the aftermath can be a really big problem. This is weeks without power, maybe people running out of food or clean water to drink. And this is just one of the things that if a big hurricane, if a big storm hits your city, there's a lot of cleanup and there's a lot of things that can go wrong in the weeks following the big event. Number 7, flooding in Charleston continues to be a problem. We try to bring in infrastructure, but flooding is just a thing in Charleston, South Carolina. If we have a really high tide combined with a really high rain, you will see flooding. And certainly, this being the Lowcountry, there are low spots of downtown or other areas of Charleston that are close to the water that these houses will flood not in a hurricane, but just in a very large rainstorm on a king tide. So be very aware of flooding and how high the elevation is on a structure before you purchase it. All right, let's talk about the bright side of why you do still want to live in Charleston, even with these hurricanes. And I've got 3 major points. The first is every area of the United States has got some type of natural disasters, whether it's tornadoes or it's earthquakes in California, or, hurricanes are a whole deal on the South and the East Coast. Charleston, at least with our hurricanes, we've got some warning. Earthquakes come without warning. Tornadoes come with very, very little warning. With a hurricane, you're given like a week's notice of where the storm is developing and what they think is going to happen. So at least you do have time to prepare, and you do have time to evacuate and keep your family safe. That's one of the positives. The second positive about hurricanes with Charleston is that Charleston's this amazing community. Everybody is here to help each other. And in the aftermath of Hugo, people came from all over the United States with tool belts on, with food, with water. They showed up with chainsaws, cutting trees. It was amazing the way that this city rebounded from that big disaster. In fact, Charleston actually got stronger after Hugo. The people that came here to help repair the city ended up loving it so much that they stayed and planted roots. So I don't think a major hurricane would take us backwards. It might even take us forwards. The third great thing about hurricanes in Charleston is that hurricane season is just a little short period of time here in Charleston. And the weather here is amazing year-round, even during hurricane season. Hurricane season lasts from about mid-July until about September. And that time is when we go to the beach, when we're surfing the waves, when we're hanging out on the boat. It's really a lovely time to be in Charleston. And again, like I said, you get warning. So I live here, my family lives here. So many people keep moving here, and they do because Charleston is one of the greatest cities in the world. It wouldn't be rated one of the top places to live every single year if it wasn't true. All right, so in summary, we talked about the 7 deadliest things about hurricanes in Charleston, and then we talked about the bright sides, about why this is still an amazing place to be, even though we sometimes could have a threat of a hurricane. I wanted you to know the full truth so you can make a wise decision before you move here to Charleston. And leave a comment below. I read every single comment, would love to reply. If you love this video and you want up-to-date news about Charleston, hit subscribe. I post new videos every week, and we'll see you on the next video.